come a really long way from somebody who didn't see the merits of the Switch to being a massive fan of this console. I gotta give it to Nintendo, and in fact, I'm excited to see if other companies, namely Sony and Microsoft, will attempt the console/handheld hybrid. I would love to see something like that from either one of those two. So the system sold a bunch of units, and there's a lot of games out there for you to play, but there are 5 that I really wanted to see on this platform. Let's take a look. First off, Castlevania Symphony of the Night. This is the game that started it all. I mean, I can't say it started it all. Castlevania was strong before Symphony of the Night, but that was the genre-defying title that really reshaped the whole franchise from that point forward. And yes, one could say that the GBA and DS Castlevanias are actually better than Symphony of the Night. A lot of the concepts, a lot of the ideas in Symphony of the Night really matured in those later titles, yes, but Symphony of the Night is the one that started this whole trend. It's the one that really gave birth to the Metroidvania genre as a whole. So yeah, I would love to see that game on the Switch. The problem is, Konami doesn't seem all that interested in developing games for the Switch. So far, Super Bomberman R is really the only thing they put out for it. And I love Super Bomberman, but this could be a little bit better. A little bit better. We can all agree, just a little bit. Next up, Super Mario Maker. From the get-go, I always thought Super Mario Maker would make a lot of sense on a portable. And yes, you could just play it on a 3DS, but it's not quite the same thing. There's a lot of features missing, and it's really... it's not the best port, let me just say it. I think Nintendo could have done a much better job porting that game for the 3DS. Perhaps this time they'll get it right when they finally bring it to the Switch. So far, though it seems like a given, no release date, nothing like that. There's rumors like there always are, but as far as we know, nothing confirmed that the game is going to come for the Switch. I don't think they... Look, Nintendo does some stupid stuff, and it may seem at times that they hate money, but there's no way they hate money that much to not port that game for the Switch. I want Mario Maker on the Switch. Bob, you're not alone. Next up, Cuphead. Cuphead seems meant for the Switch. That game, I think, would thrive on a handheld portable. Handheld portable is kind of redundant. On a handheld that actually allows you to detach controllers and give to a friend to play together. And yes, I know Cuphead is an Xbox One exclusive, so there's no point in hoping it would come out for the Switch. Or so I thought. Because when I looked into it, it doesn't seem that set in stone that Cuphead will always be an Xbox One exclusive. When replying to people over at the NeoGAF forums, Studio MDHR said this: yes, this Cuphead game is exclusive to Xbox and PC, with Steam and Windows 10 versions at launch and a good old game's release likely shortly after. There will likely be a Mac version down the road and possibly a Linux version beyond that, unless we lose our houses or whatever. We own the Cuphead IP. Maybe I'm misinterpreting what I'm reading here. Maybe I'm too caught up in what they're literally saying, but it doesn't seem like they confirmed, without a doubt, that Cuphead will be a lifetime exclusive for the Xbox One and PC. They said it is exclusive. They didn't say it'll always be exclusive or it's a lifetime exclusivity deal. They didn't say that. They said it is right now. And not only that, but it almost seemed like they're telegraphing that the next one won't be, because read that again. This Cuphead game. We own the Cuphead IP. At the very least, it's safe to assume that they went with the exclusivity deal with Microsoft because they're an indie developer and this is an IP that's brand new, nobody knew it, and there is a lot of benefits to an indie developer to sign up exclusivity deals with companies like, in this case, with Cuphead. So it's easy to see why they would get their hands tied up to make sure that this game would reach the masses. But now Cuphead is a staple in gaming, and they made it very clear that this exclusivity deal only counts for this game, the Cuphead we have now, and with the Switch selling as much as it did, they would have to hate money as much as Nintendo does to not put out Cuphead 2 on the Switch. So if I were a betting man, I would say we're definitely going to see a sequel of that game on the Switch whenever that comes out. Next up, Hotline Miami. Hotline Miami is one of those games that I hear so much about, I hear great things about, but for whatever reason, it just doesn't entice me enough to go out and play. When I finally did, I got completely hooked. I'm a fan of the series. I'm saddened by the fact that there's only 2 of them. We're seeing a lot of games on the Switch that we wouldn't commonly associate with Nintendo, so I don't think Hotline Miami is too violent to be on this system. There's been a lot of dual stick shooters. I think that's the name, the official name of this genre. There's a lot of them on iOS back in a few years ago when all the gaming I did was on my phone. And I think Hotline Miami basically perfected that genre. And it's not just the gameplay that is just so tight. The game is so addictive. It's unforgiving. You die a lot in this game trying to figure out how to clear each room, but it's not a cheap death most of the time. Like, it's the kind of game where when you die, you know you messed up and you're excited to try different strategies. It's not the kind of game where you die and then you just have to shelve the game for a couple weeks to cool down from it. Not only is this game just so pretty to look at, I love that 80s aesthetic, the soundtrack is phenomenal. And I can honestly say I haven't enjoyed a video game soundtrack as much as Hotlines in a very, very long time. It's great. That synthwave, I've been all about synthwave recently. Maybe that's why this game now finally pulled me in, and it's just phenomenal. What a great job these guys did. See, what I want to see is a physical bundle of Hotline Miami 1 and 2. I'd pick that up immediately considering they're older indie titles. I would imagine that they'd be pretty affordable, even if they bundled both of the games. So, I wish. And finally, Grand Theft Auto 5, but you knew this was coming. GTA 5 is a gaming force to be reckoned with, and I'm a massive, massive fan of the franchise, going back in the day of the original GTA. Just to give you an idea, I used to write GTA fan fiction when I was a teenager. Like, original GTA fan fiction, if you can believe that. I could barely speak English, and I was so pulled into that underworld of crime and running missions. And remember that one mission that was based on speed, where you had to hijack a bus and you had to keep it above a certain speed or otherwise it would explode, like the plot of the movie? I found that's so brilliant that the game would parody a movie that I loved. So from everything, like the fact that you could go anywhere and steal cars and fight the police if you wanted to, or not even complete missions, or just screw around, and that's mostly what I did back then. Everything about that game blew me away. It took me forever to realize that there were other cities in the original GTA because I just spent so much time screwing around. I wasn't completing the missions to allow me to progress further into the story. I've owned literally every GTA title. I've gone to midnight launches for GTA 4, for instance. I bought 2 copies of GTA 5 for 2 different systems, and I would gladly buy a third one for the Switch. You know, it's funny because when I first started hearing people talk about how they would love to have GTA 5 on the Switch, at first it seemed unrealistic for a game like GTA 5 to work on basically a portable system like the Switch, but then it occurred to me that this is actually a PS3 game. This is a pretty old game. It came out in 2013, and it's crazy to see that the community is still going strong in the online mode. I mean, Rockstar has been doing such a great job at keeping the game fresh, putting out all this new content via free DLC, and they really advertise it. They put ads on Facebook, on YouTube. They want people to know that this game is still being supported. There's still a lot of people playing. There's a lot of new stuff to do every time. So it seems like, again, like what I said with Hotline Miami, if it was a few years ago, the idea of a GTA title on a Nintendo system didn't seem like a match because, one, it's a pretty ambitious title, and Nintendo systems are usually on the lower end of the hardware spectrum, and it's Nintendo. You think family friendly, you think kid games, so a GTA game on a Nintendo system, it doesn't seem quite right. Of course, except if you ignore one of the best GTA titles in my opinion, GTA Chinatown Wars for the original DS. That game was incredible. It really was. It was an awesome return to form to the top-down view GTA. Again, the first GTA was the one that made me fall in love with the series, so I love GTA Chinatown Wars. And that drug trade minigames is actually more addictive than the game itself. When I unlocked that, it took me weeks to get back to the main storyline because I just wanted to be buying drugs someplace, driving someplace else, and selling it at another location to another dealer. It's that fun. So those are the 5 games I really hope to see on the Nintendo Switch. What is your Nintendo Switch wish list? Let me know in the comments below. If you're new here, consider subscribing, hit the notification bell. You know YouTube sucks at letting you know I put out new content. Follow me on social media. I'm very active on Twitter, on Instagram. I love hearing back from you guys. And that's all the time I have for today. I'm Izzy, and I'm done.
Wow.